wedding season has officially begun in LME Creations headquarters, and we're gonna start with this stunning all pink bouquet that I just got a couple of hours ago. I'm gonna show you how I dismantle the bouquet and I press every single flower just to after make a piece and keep it forever. So let's get to it. First things first, we're gonna set up. I'm gonna show you the materials that I use, and then we'll start pressing the flowers. What we're gonna need first is a flower press. We also gonna need some bamboo towels. Probably this much is too many, but better to have more than less. And third, we're gonna need some blotting paper. This one I use to separate the layers because this country is very humid and I can't put the flowers directly here, otherwise they rot. Last but not least, from here we're gonna need some cardboard to separate the flowers, the layers with the flowers that are they have more moisture. Sorry, they have more moisture, and the flowers that are thicker as well. So put that back. We're gonna leave just one of the blanks here on the table, and we're gonna remove the second one till the very end. Completely optional is to have a cat on the table to help you. Actually, I have to, the other one is on the floor. Something that I find really helpful is to have a bucket by hand, because in here you will be putting all the flowers and all the petals that they are not good for pressing, the ones that they are not going to go inside the flower press, and you're gonna get completely discarded. So instead of having like a messy table and mixing the petals or the flowers that you're gonna use with the flowers that definitely you're not gonna use, it's good to have a bucket that then you can keep the flowers in here and then throw it into the compost. And last but not least, one thing I do and is completely optional is to have a notebook where I write the name of the bride or the person that booked with me and write every single flower that was inside the bouquet. The reason I do that is because sometimes I obviously have to deconstruct the flowers to press them. So to have a proper record of what's inside or what was inside the bouquet and the exact colors, I take a photo and then I write down every single flower. And the reason I do it in the notebook instead of a laptop is because this is faster. If I need to have the laptop can get wet, and the flowers are wet, so I prefer just doing it here and then I pass it onto the my sheet, my Excel sheet, when I keep all the details of the weddings, just to stay organized. Just a curious note before I dismantle the bouquet is that it's meant to be, as far as I know, because I'm not a florist, but as far as I know, it's meant to be a very good bouquet if it can stand on its own. So let's do the test. Amazing. Amazing. And here we have, I'm gonna separate the flowers. And now I have the bouquet dismantled like this. I'm gonna hold it with one hand and I'm gonna separate the flowers one by type of flower. So let's say here we have ranunculus, here we have sweet peas, here we have, sorry, carnations and roses. Now there's, as far as I can see, there's different type of roses. So I'm gonna make two different, no, three actually, different piles. Yeah, let's go. Ranunculus, sweet pea. Oh, and Lysianthus, my worst enemy. One of them. Ranunculus, oh ranunculus. Now all the flowers in this bouquet, all of them, should press really well. All of them. Now, what's the issue is the color pink is quite unreliable, especially this type of pale pink, because it normally, if you leave it in the flower press 1 week longer than necessary, pocket, 1 week. So see, these flowers, these petals are already withered. They are not gonna make it into the flower press, and that's the reason why we have three Lysianthus, pink Lysianthus. The flowers written down, so now it's time to start pressing them. The way I do the layers always confuses people, especially over Instagram, so I'm gonna show you exactly how I do the layers. And this is a way that works for me, but that not necessarily is gonna work for you, so try it, and if it doesn't work, try a different way. So we're gonna go first, we're gonna put a layer of bamboo, and these bamboo towels, I will leave the link in the description. You can get them directly from the brand, and you can get them on Amazon as well. I find them amazing, and you don't need to wash them every time you use them, and you can reuse them many times before washing them or throwing them away. Once you wash them, the only downside is that they shrink quite a lot. First of all, to me, the easiest flower here is the sweet peas. So we're gonna start with the sweet peas and then move our way up to probably the ranunculus will be the last one that I press. So for the sweet peas, you can press them whole, and you can press them as well with the stems, which is nice to have, because then imagine the person wants, I don't know, let's say a garden design, so you can make a nice garden with the stems. Now we put them on top of the bamboo towels. We cut the excess here, too long. Remove it. And we will do this until we finish, or until we have the layer full. Now, one thing to consider, one thing to take note and consider is that never ever let the flowers touch if possible. Obviously, when you press them with the stems, it's going to be a bit more complicated. Some of them doesn't matter if they touch, but it's better if they don't, because there's more chances for them to rot inside the flower press or to lose their colors because there's too much moisture. Perfect. So we have the layer full. We're gonna put another 2 sheets of fresh bamboo towels. 1 and 2. Because these flowers are not too thick, these flowers are not gonna give a huge, big trouble to press. I'm gonna just add 2 sheets of blotting paper to separate the layers. You can press them down a little bit, and then we start again with the bamboo. Another thing you can do, instead of going like this one by one, because this way they can break, you can take the whole head, twist. So with one hand you hold the stem, with the other hand you hold the petals together, and you move your hands, rotate your hands in opposite directions carefully. It doesn't work with every single flower, but it works with most of them. And you carefully remove all the petals, so you'll have all the petals on your hand, and that way they won't be breaking every time you pull from them, from the head, from the stem. sheets of bamboo on top as we're going with the layers like this. Sorry, Tito. And the two blotting sheets. Again, or you can have a cat keeping you company as well. Although he's there because he's waiting for me to finish and see if he can steal some leftovers and play with them. Isn't it? No, no. Look at the size of these petals. They are huge compared to my hand. And the color is amazing too. I hope it stays at least. It's not gonna stay as vibrant, but at least it's gonna stay because it's a very dark color of shade of pink actually. This is my POV right now. I finished with the big roses. I only have that one left that I have enough here for pressing, so I left that one just to air dry and to give it back to the bride dried and to use it as decoration for whenever I wrap the piece, when I have the piece ready. Now I have a space here, so what I'm going to do, and there's no mystery, I am gonna shed these and spread them on the sheet. Some people cut a hole and press a hole. I don't do that because again, humidity. So I'm gonna do that. And if you wanna keep the stems, again, cut them in halves and you can keep the stems as well. If I do that, I will do it at the very, very end. Let's go again. Doesn't matter if they touch them or if they get mixed up. Then when you reconstruct the flowers, the colors you won't see much. And I have a menace here. Since this bouquet didn't have any green, it doesn't have any eucalyptus, anything that is green. It's kind of nice to save whatever is there, and if there are leaves attached to there, especially roses, it's kind of nice to have, just give it a touch of green. What we have left are thicker flowers we're gonna press almost whole. We're gonna separate this layer from the next one with first blotting paper. That works. Now I don't really like doing this because it slides, but in this case is necessary. So first we're gonna start with the carnations. Is that pressing them like that, it's a bit awkward. They are too thick here in the center and they have kind of tubular shape that it makes them a bit awkward to press. So what we're gonna do with carnations is I'm gonna start here. Yeah, we're gonna start here and we're gonna start cutting the flower in half. So yeah, we have the flower in half, including the stem. You can include the stem and just leave it upward. So we have the flower like this. And in this case, we need to remove some of the inner petals. We remove the center, this part, and we remove some of the petals. Now, these petals, you can actually use them and then press them. They're not, see, they won't be as many as pressing all of these. So we have, you see, the flower is in halves already. You can get also a cloth or one of the bamboos that you're not going to use and then take the moisture out, the excess moisture out, and then it will go to the flower press like this. Make sure the petals are as straight as possible, and obviously in this case doesn't matter if they touch because you probably know they will dry as they are. Next one, we're gonna work with these type of tiny roses. I think they're called spray roses, I believe. There's two options here. If the flower is open like this, you can go slowly and carefully with your fingers and remove the petals that they are inside. The ones that they are outside, that they're already, bruised and withered like the other flowers, but also that the ones that they are inside the flower. We're gonna carefully remove a few more. Carefully, I don't know if it's gonna work, but carefully we're gonna put our fingers inside and we're gonna slowly open the flower to the sides until the flower is flat in a way. Now be careful when you do this, because again, if the flower is already too withered, the petals are gonna go. Here we have the carnations. Hope you're seeing it there correctly. And we're gonna go like this slowly, and then we cut the stem. Second way is, if the flower is closed like this one, for example, we go again with a cutting in half where we last cut, and then we go try to do a clean cut. And we have the flower in half. This one worked amazing, and we will do the same as the other one. We take off the petals on the center carefully, because you can actually shred the whole flower. We don't want that. And we make it a bit flat with our fingers and put it down on the flower press. The job is almost done. So now we only need to put the top layer of the flower press. I don't use the screws. It's a question I get quite often. I don't use the screws because I find them quite annoying. And the same weight of the flower press makes the flowers flat. And also, if you need more pressure, you can put elastic bands around it. But what I do is I use the weight of other flower presses to put on top and make the flowers even more flat than they are. And also, another thing that I've decided in the end was to use a smaller flower press for the flowers that have more moisture. So in case they rot, or in case something happens, these flowers won't get the others, moldy, rot. The humidity doesn't go through the layers, and we save the other flowers. We can save these ones. And the last thing to do, and the biggest recommendation I can give you, is make a sign on the flower presses, so you know who the flowers belong to and the date you've pressed them. And that way you'll know how many times have you checked the flowers. You can write on the note as well, on the sign as well, how many times you've checked the flowers and when, because that is very important. But it's something for the next video. I'm Laura, I'm a pressed flower artist, and I hope to see you in the next one.